President Obama has urged world leaders attending the UN Climate Change Conference in Paris to act now to secure a future for humanity. It is a sentiment shared by experts who say there's no room for failure. Joining us live from Paris is James Cameron, chairman of the think tank, the Overseas Development Institute. Afternoon to you. It's a huge achievement getting all of these world leaders, world powers around the table. What can you possibly hope that will be achieved when there are so many diverse opinions and economic needs?
Well, it is a huge achievement to get so much power in the room and to have so much of the world focused on what they say. And of course, one has to hope now that what they say they will do. These negotiations are about as complex as it gets. I'm not sure humanity has ever really tried to negotiate something this complicated in such a way, and so one has to expect that things will go wrong. There is a kind of pathology about these negotiations that tends towards crisis, and then 24 hours at least of no sleep, and something emerges at the end. But we do know quite a lot in advance. The governments have provided quite a lot of material to tell us what the likely outcome is, and so you're entitled to be hopeful.
There are some countries who perhaps, well, I was going to say take it less seriously, but that's probably unkind. They have other economic issues when you look to China and India. I mean, how do you, in your position, get the message across that there is a real urgency here?
I really don't think we need to do anything other than listen to what they're saying in India and China. They're fully aware of the nature of the problem. Yes, they have pressing, urgent needs to deal with economic matters in their own jurisdiction, but Prime Minister Modi is currently announcing a huge solar initiative with a number of other governments just around the corner here. China's speech today was really very progressive, definitely taking the issue seriously, moving towards a different shape of economy, huge investments in clean technology, a real national mission to get to grips with the consequences of climate change. Hundreds of millions of people living at sea level in China. Air pollution is a very serious matter today in China and can be fixed by many of the ways in which we know climate change can be addressed. And Prime Minister Modi's solar announcement is based largely on the fact that solar is cheaper for those who have no access to power, and burning coal, which will still happen in China and India in large amounts, has a cost. And coal really is something we're going to have to phase out as quickly as is humanly possible.
So the big aim is this 2 degrees, keep the increase in global temperatures below 2 degrees. How has that been reached at, and why is that such a point?
This process takes in the best science it can access through an intergovernmental process called the IPCC, but also through hundreds of other contributions from people who assess the risk at any given time. And that's a target that's been set now for some time. It's considered to be the safe level for human society to thrive and prosper. We understand from the contributions that have been offered to date in this process that it's quite likely that whatever is agreed at the end of this week will be insufficient to stay within that 2 degree threshold. On the other hand, it will be sufficient to maintain momentum towards it. And then if you add all of the other contributions that are coming from the non-state actors, the cities, the mayors, the sub-federal states, the corporations and their supply chains, the investors and the like, that does help fill the gap to some extent, and it shows the variety of contributions that will be needed, the many, many decisions that will have to be taken every day in our economy that bit by bit will reduce the risk associated with breaching that 2 degree target. And the risk is severe. Something like a 50% probability that if we maintain business as usual, we might arrive in 100 years at 6 to 7 degrees warming, which is really completely impossible for human society to bear.
James Cameron, chairman of the Overseas Development Institute, thank you very much for your time. So what will happen if what James says, countries can't agree on the measures to stop global warming? Well, this is the prediction Sky's Richard Souchet has been finding out.